It's a great pleasure to see you all beautiful people from all over the world. I can feel the world in my heart, seriously. And that is sort of the dream coming true, that we as the citizens of the world start exchanging our views, connecting, and hopefully get into actions to pass this incredible planet forward to the next generations, as my colleagues often say, to be a proud ancestors of our future generations. So the only way to do that is to connect and to start engaging and start knowing each other and start going through all the obstacles, cultural, mental, philosophical, and see that at the end, we're just one big tribe. And that's how it feels today. So welcome to Connectathon. It didn't happen overnight. We've been talking and talking and talking about networks of the networks, and eventually it happened today. But it did, with the final decision about starting to work on it, and today it's only a few months. So please be gentle with yourself and with the organizers, because it's really a proof of concept, nothing else. And we are learning now together how to organize and how to go about events like this, that the next one, which will be already a prototyping, will be much better. So thank you very much. And wow, let's start this show. Alexander, back to you.
Thank you so much, Violeta. So as we get going here, I just want to take one moment to breathe and to settle in with all of you here. We're already populating our screen. We got 36 people already on here. So if you have yourself in gallery view, you see all these shiny, happy people, as the song goes. And what I would like to do just to begin is to connect. So this is what we're going to do. Take your hands, bring them up to your screen, turn them outwards, put them to the edges of your screen. Right, turn them outwards. Look at this. We're all touching hands. Can you see that? If you're in gallery view, you can see us all touching hands here. Oh my gosh. This is the Connect-a-thon in action at the beginning. Yay. All right. This is awesome because, you know, we can say, you know, is everyone here? And, you know, you're all here. But where is here? That's awesome for me to think about. Where are you here now? Because we're all here together, but the here is really global. And here is also now, but we're in different time zones. I'm speaking to you from Buenos Aires, Argentina, where it is 11 o'clock, just past 11 in the morning, and you're all over the place. So this is a very special time. You know, there's this Hopi saying that says, we are the ones we have been waiting for. Yeah, that's been a saying for a while. But I really think that now that saying is taking on a different sense because we're showing up and there's actually stuff for us to do. And there are ways for us to do that. And that's what we're prototyping. Well, actually, Violeta is very clear on this. It's not just prototyping, we're proof of concept. Prototyping comes a little later. Right now, we're just testing this out to see, hey, can we do this like this? So I'm going to share with you right now, first of all, who am I? I'm Alexander Laszlo. I'm speaking to you from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I've been helping get this off the ground. We started some informal conversations already a couple of years ago on networking the networks. And that's bringing together a bunch of different people involved in different networks around the planet. And then, of course, all these different organizations that are networks themselves of connected people. Right? This is what the world is becoming or could be. But how do we connect? You know, there's that saying also, I'm full of these sayings, that no one of us is as smart as all of us. So here's a chance for us to learn to do that. And we're going to be learning with and from each other as we connect around the planet today. I don't want to get into the details of how and what we're doing because Tim and Violeta are going to take that. But I want to step back with you for a moment to think about why is this important right now? And I don't mean during Mercury retrograde, because that's happening as well. But I mean, right now at this time on the planet, where this kind of connectathon is right timing. You know, they say, again, from another one of the sayings, this is from Victor Hugo, who said that nothing is so powerful as an idea whose time has come. Well, the time has come for this sort of thing, where we are able to connect with each other and connect our connections. Oh, wow. I mean, think about that, the exponential power of connecting our connections. Why is this so important at this time on our planet? In the biggest picture that I would like to hold, I would say this is about the evolution of consciousness, because we are at a point on this planet where we've run out of the value inherent in individual, separated, siloed, isolated consciousness. That's not working anymore. It gets us where we're all trying to do our own thing independently and we're competing against each other. You know, it's an old story. And it's not one that's actually leading us into any kind of viable future. So what is emerging? Well, that's what's for me particularly interesting, because we are in this in-between time. Is Roberto around here? We have the liminal village. We have this idea of liminality, where we are living in between times. You know, this old way of being isn't holding water anymore, as I just mentioned, right? But the new way of being is still being born. It's still being born. So it's not here yet. What we're doing here is helping midwife that. But I want to suggest to us, and some of you may have heard this before, that we're doing a triple birthing right now. So in one way, we are helping birth this new world. We're kind of the midwives of these new ways of listening, of connecting, of fostering collective wisdom. That is part of this whole process that we're engaged in right now. And that's a fantastic exploration. And we are midwifing that, kind of helping that be born. But we are also the mother giving birth. We are giving birth to this new time, to this new way, to this new interconnection. So there's a lot of pain involved in that. There's a lot of pushing involved in that. And there's a lot of breathing involved in that. Hey, and this is a man speaking here, okay? So, but so they tell me, there's a lot of breathing, but you know, we are actually giving birth to this, because it's us together who are constructing this, who are breathing life into this time, this way of being, this collective interbeing. Okay, so we have the role of the midwife. We have the role of the mother giving birth. We're playing those roles, but we are also that which is being born. So it's really important to think about that we are not doing this for some future generation. We are the ones who are taking this forward, right? I said this at the beginning, that we are the ones that we have been waiting for. And this idea of taking on the mantle of the ones who help give life, and heart to this eco-civilization, this promise of a way of being in the world that is interconnected, interdependent, and that truly is a greater being that we all participate in. So I think that is what we're going to be experimenting today, but that's the consciousness that I would ask all of us to bring to this. Bring this consciousness that it's not just you coming here and connecting with others, but you're already connected. That's your ground state. We're already all connected. Now we're making those connections visible. So think about the fact that you're connected, whether you want to have that as a heart connection or whether it's because we are just simply all on one planet. I mean, there is that fundamental condition of being connected as a starting point. Now we need to make that visible. We need to kind of live into that state of being of interconnection, because as a species, we're going around acting as though we're not interconnected. We're acting as though we're all autonomous, independent agents. And not only is that dangerous, but it's really an illusion. So the more we understand from quantum physics and also from astrophysics at the very large scale, we understand that there is this entanglement, or what Theodore Holmes Nelson expresses more nicely for human level engagement, intertwinglement, has some magic to it. So that magic of intertwingling with each other is what we're going to be exploring, including trying to bring into our ways of interconnecting the wisdom from all parts of the world, what people are doing now, and also from different times of the world. So we're going to be hearing during this time also about the wisdom practices that we have from different parts of the world, how those can inform our being of the change, being the ones that we've been waiting for, giving birth to this time, midwifing it. The last thing I want to say in this, and then I'll pass it back to Violeta, is that this is a time of betweenness. This is what some have talked about as the liminal time. It's a time of great possibility where anything could happen, and it probably will. But the thing is that during this time when the old regimes are really truly showing that they're not viable, it's not a way forward that we can extrapolate into the long-term future, right? So these patterns of being on the planet are basically bankrupt. But we don't have new patterns that are consolidated, congealed, that are, even our social systems are not well formed yet enough to be able to say, we can move into this modality already. However, what we're doing here in this Connectathon is seeding an attractor. We're saying something like this could be our future civilization, an eco-civilization, where we connect with heart, with care, fundamentally with love, and we co-emerge, because frankly, there's no other way of doing it. We can only co-emerge on this planet. If you think you're emerging by yourself, you're again in your delusion of separation. So when we live into that, the true potential of our species to be interconnected and interdependent in this interbeing, it's going to be interfun. So this is what we get to do here today as we explore. And remember, this is an exploration. So please come with your whole self, come with all of your creativity, come with your wildest dreams, come with what you can help us all be more able, more inspired, more engaged with each other to make this birthing happen, right? This triple birthing. So take on all these roles and have fun. This is fundamentally a fun exploration that we're doing together, right? Back to you, Violeta. And you have to unmute so we can all hear you.
Thank you very much, Alexander, for this very powerful introduction. And I was asked to just share a little bit how it came about and tell a few words about Ecocivilisation, who was one of the co-organizers of this event. And the group, Network of the Networks, also choose this expression as one of the motivating sort of chapeau expressions for the whole event. And while I was getting ready for this, it was really interesting that more questions started to pop into my head than answers. So I will go with that flow, and I will share a couple of thoughts with you that hopefully will be a little bit of a provocation as well, to set the tone that we need to go today and tomorrow beyond what we understand today, what we think we are capable of doing today, beyond the thoughts that we have already developed, and just really help each other to evolve and to emerge into something that will give some tangible answers to this really challenging questions that we have to face on a day-to-day basis. And we see that the current organizations and structures are completely unable to get the right answers to all of these challenges. which tells me that, and it's not only one little country like Slovenia, where I'm currently calling you from, or big countries, the big powerful countries of G20, there is no good answer in the current established structures. More they're taking decisions, the worse conditions they're creating. So yes, we are called to be bold, to dare to challenge, and to dare to take responsibility for constructive actions. So based on that, of course, I will share with you this dream that I got seriously. It was seriously a dream in March, the first week of the COVID lockdown. And it evolved based on 10, 12, 15 years of experiences that connected many of us who later on engaged and continue to talk to dare to challenge the civilizational paradigms. And I had this dream about eco-civilization that we all globally need to co-create. So the eco-civilization today is a global movement, society, partnering network. We're one of little dots in all this vast pool of many emerging networks that are waking up based on what Alexander was suggesting, awaken consciousness. And now we're trying to get together and bring the fruits and dreams and try to actually make them stronger and even shape them even better together, because we can have individual dreams, but only when they're put together and they get some serious discussions and rationalization and new dream cycles behind, then they can become some tangible solutions. But I do believe that we have this chance to do it. And my first question is, who are we as humans? So how are we relating to other beings? How dare we currently take a stand that we are worth by far more than any other being on this planet Earth? Where did that come from? How did we develop that? Because long time ago, we were part of nature, and then suddenly we pulled ourselves out and we started to look at nature as something that we have to master, that we have to explore and exploit. And look where that got us. So how can we re-question our role? I still believe we are beautiful beings. Humans are incredible. And yes, we are at the new level of consciousness of this planet, but that doesn't make us superior. That just makes us more responsible. So those that know are responsible ones. And so how can we shape our attitude towards all the beings on this planet and really understand what our core role is? Not to be afraid that we will lose, but we can only gain. The next question that is really constantly bothering me is, how did we get to the point that we are doing to our mothers what we are doing? And when I say that, first I have a Mother Earth in mind, Pachamama, or whichever expression we use. I mean, where did we lose the respect for mothers? Those that give birth, those that feed us, those that take care of us while we're growing up and trying to find the purpose, our own purpose in life. So this is a serious question that I'd like us to explore. And I see so many discussions in this Connectathon that are talking about regenerative behavior, talking about circular economy and sustainable development. So that is something I hope will deliver some great tangible actions that we can all then explore further. So yes, question deep inside in our genes, where did we lose the respect for our mothers? And then comes to the society, and look at what we are trying to convince ourselves about, and that we actually are no longer worth of living on this planet, and we need to change ourselves into something that will be a mixture of technology and human being. And I've seen in the last couple of years so strongly transhumanization being put forward as the next vision of this planet Earth and humans. And of course, the question is, I mean, have we really given up on us when we haven't even started to develop? I mean, we just maybe a little bit develop our physical stand, but what about our emotional level, our spiritual level, our energy levels that we know almost nothing about, our social frameworks that we started to move away just to establish ourselves as individuals, but now we are realizing that that doesn't let us far. So we are trying to find ways to how to keep our individuality and bond and together on a level of collective consciousness create a change. So I would certainly invite you to put some thoughts into it. Are we ready to get extinct? Are we ready to just enter the flow of transhumanization? Or do you think we deserve something more, or we are entitled, or we have a responsibility to go beyond that? And currently I'm offering you eco-civilization concept, but it could be something else, but definitely something else. And that brings us to the consciousness. And if we look back at the last 50,000 years, you will see that there were enormous number of civilizations present on this planet Earth, and they had some incredible peaks, and they all thought they would last forever. But guess what? None of them did. None of them so far. So what makes us different? One thing is that all old civilizations were continental. They were very much limited in scope. There was no global connection, no global awareness of another parts of the world, and no tools to really engage and act as a collective, except maybe some very, very spiritual high-end people. But that was not enough to build the global collective awareness and consciousness. So all of them went down to the pile of history. Some of them we discovered a couple of 100 years after again, and I'm sure that many of them we haven't yet. So the question that is popping up into my mind is, are we again there? Is this Western civilization just one of them? Or can we go beyond with a conscious mind, with a full awareness where we are, with a full awareness of what is no longer working, and have the collective global power to reinvent ourselves, to transform? And maybe the next civilization or paradigm will come from a global consciousness. What do you think? Are you with me on that one? I'm inviting you just into this process. Allow yourself to dream, and who knows what's going to pop up. And last but not least, of course, I dare to go beyond and tapping into the emergence of these incredible thoughts that are everywhere now popping up. I wonder what could be the next big thing that will completely shift the way how society understands the values and people relate to each other, because every civilization had this kind of shifts. And this word popped up, relationships. I might be completely wrong, but I continue to explore that. And the latest discoveries in physics that go beyond the understanding of quantum physics are just hinting that this might be it, you know, because they are slowly proving that everything is connected, every single part. So let me leave you with this thought. And let's dive deeply into this connectathon. Let's learn as much as we can and just see what's going to be at the end of this journey that we can use for the next spiral round, which will be next year. So thank you very much, Alexander. Back to you.
Thank you, Violeta. Phenomenal. And again, this is, it's almost as if this is something that we cannot not do. In many ways. I mean, if we fail to do this, then, and what is the this? The this is to become the interbeing on this planet that is true integrated representation of our species with all the rest of life as it emerges. Kind of sounds complicated, but really what we're doing right here, right now, is prototyping that. Oh, sorry, proof of concept first. But this is the experiment. We're in the Petri dish now, right? And we have to experiment on ourselves. So is this what we want? How do we want to be with each other? You really have to imagine yourself in this eco-civilization that is already here now. What would it take for us to, how would we interact with each other? How do we co-do? And how do we co-be? Well, that's a good bridge over to Tim, who's going to share with us a few more things about this wonderful Connectathon. Tim.
Thank you so much, Alexander, and Violeta, for your excellent words, both of you. Yes, I'm going to wear my tech hat, or beanie, as it were. It's a little bit nippy here for some reason. Autumn is coming. I'm not in South Africa as I normally am, but I'm up in the north at the moment, hence the hat. And the relevance of that will become apparent in a few minutes. But before, I want to show you a little bit about the platform that we've been working on, and we're going to be using in the background, but I wanted to say a few words about connecting and technology, relationships, and society that I think are relevant, just to form a kind of setting. And I think there's a lot of philosophers out there, and we know over the ages, and I'm sure there are a lot of philosophers in this room. I mean, we're all philosophers in some level or other. But philosophy is a great starter engine. It's a great space for the ideas to be born. But then you step into the world of engineering, whether you're like have this idea, wow, maybe I could attach this rock to this piece of wood and it'll give me more leverage, and all of a sudden I've got an axe. And all that kind of stuff that humans have been doing since we went from Homo habilis up to Homo sapiens, or whatever we want to call ourselves today. We are tool makers, and the tools we make, they make us. It's a two-way relationship, So for me, what is really interesting, and when I started talking to Violeta about these ideas, is what is the culture of eco-civilization? And how does that culture relate to technology? Because technology will create a culture. When we create a new technology like capitalism, that creates a new culture. Steam engine, electric cars, all these things create new cultures. And if we are going to evolve consciously, I think as Alexander would speak to, we need to figure out, well, what is the culture we want, and then try to build a type of technology that will build that type of culture, that will create that type of behavior in us. Because humans our greatness is our malleability, our ability to be almost anything in any circumstance, but very much the circumstances define what we become. So how do we create the best circumstances for us to become the best potential species we could become? For me, that is what the Connectathon is. And as we move forward through the meeting twice every year on the equinoxes, which is obviously a very old sacred day in our cultures, to really explore this and constantly try to see what kind of technology can we build to support the kind of society that we want, the kind of civilization we're striving for. So that, I think, is like the invitation to think of, yes, as we progress on the tech side, I think that should be first and foremost in our minds. So that's on the philosophy of technology. I'm going to just dip into the tech we're using today. Zoom, you are all familiar with, so we don't need to talk anymore about that. The second piece of tech we're using is something that we have been building. I say we, but actually it's Patrick who's been building pretty much all of it, if not all of it. I'll let him say a few words towards the end to correct my my errors. But we've been working a long time and built many iterations of some kind of platform. You could see it as social media. You could see it's, I like to think of it as it's like a platform for change makers to connect, to meet, almost like a dating site for change makers between you, your values, and what's out there in the world where you can help. So it's very much about connecting and very appropriate for the Connectathon. And as we want this to be an open event, I don't want to come off as we just have to use this tool that we have now that we're building. I mean, I really want this to be an invitation, not only for other people building other tools to, for the next Connectathon, please bring them in, and so we can have more tools to share. And also what we're building is an open source platform, or will soon be open source, I should say specifically. Once we get to open source the code, and invite anyone who wants to help us continue building it. Please come join meetings. Doesn't matter if you're a developer or if you have ideas. We'd love to have your ideas. And after the Connectathon, we'll share all the information with you for how we could work together to build something that we all can use, that will be open source and free for everyone to serve us in our striving towards the eco-civilization. So I'm just going to now share screen with you ever so briefly. Maybe Daisy, you could drop the link in the chat for those of you who are not aware of it. But this is, thank you so much. So this is a brief view of a very early version of something we call 𝐂𝐤𝐬. As you see, it's currently on Circles, or Swedish circular, circles.org. That's mainly because we're keeping this under wrap. This is a very early iteration, but you will be invited to join, create profiles. You can create circles about projects you're involved in. You can connect with each other, etc., etc. There's some stuff you can do on here, and I think it would be a great opportunity to sort of explore this a little bit. But basically, what you can see on the one side, we have our beautiful planet you can spin around and look at, and on this planet at the moment you can see everything, everyone, and every person, every circle that's created a profile. If I just click on users, then I only see the people around the globe. If I click on circles, I can see all the different projects, such as the Connectathon. It's very easy to zoom in, zoom out. On the other side, we have something that's a little bit like a Telegram or WhatsApp chat. Here we have the Earth, which is the major circle, obviously, or the globe that we are all on. And here we can see all the different circles that exist. You can think of a circle as a group or a project. We can see all the events, like the hours of the Connectathon and other things going on. There's a whole Earth chat, which is kind of impractical because everyone on the planet will use that. But we have it there just as an example, and we have all your users. And if you're an admin, you also have a settings button. And down the side, we have all the different circles. And if I click on my face here, I will jump into me. And what is exciting here is so the reason I said I'm in Stockholm at the moment, but I put myself down in Cape Town because I just wanted to show these lines and speak to that. So basically the lines show all my connections that I have on the platform as is. I can see all the connections I have to different circles or groups or projects, and I can see all the connections I have to different people around the planet that I know, that I've connected with. And you can obviously do all this for yourselves. And I mean, it's really nice to see where everyone is. And I wanted to say that when I first came across this just like a week ago, I thought, well, this is kind of cool. But there should be a way to turn it off, because it's also a bit of a distraction to have all these lines between people. It kind of gets in the way. But then when I looked back on just users without the connections, because the connection disappeared for a brief period of time, I kind of felt like I was severed from everybody. And this actually feels better. This feels like these are actually, all of these lines are relationships, and they're reminding me that I exist through my relationships. And I think that's something quite beautiful. And I think one of the issues with a lot of the social technology we have today is that it's based on capturing our attention and yeah, getting us agitated. That's what the algorithm, it's not then not really intentional. It's just the best way to keep you by the screen is get you agitated, and the best way to do that is to give you more and more extreme and erroneous versions of the world and the people you imagine are your opposition. And it breaks connection. It breaks connection between us, between ourselves and ourselves, between ourselves and others. So we desperately need to start building a new type of technology to connect. And we can't change the existing platforms to do that because it's not their nature. Their nature is to grab attention. So what we're trying to build here together, hopefully together also with you, is something that isn't based on advertising. There's no data mining. Down the line, you know, nobody's selling your data. You get to control all your own interactions. You get to define things. Down the line, this will be entirely decentralized. Obviously, we need to start centralized because the tech isn't there yet. And like a prototype of what a global village could look like, where I can find out whether if I meet somebody on here that I don't know yet, I can tell through their connections or through their reputation if it's someone I can actually give my car keys to, or you know, come and stay in my house when I'm not there, or whatever it might be. So it's a way to bring us closer and understand more about each other. And what we're planning now, it's pretty easy, and everyone is invited to play around with it as much as you like. And down some at the moment, as I said, you can create a profile, you can create some, you can create a circle if you like for a project or anything you're involved with, or a community. You can create connections between others, and there's a basic chat. We are going to work in the coming weeks and months to add more functions, so more democratic functions, to create proposals, etc. We're going to create better matchmaking functions, so that if you want to volunteer, you list your values and your interests and where you are, and if something shows up that matches you, you get a notification and you can decide, do I want to help out with this project? So the idea is to get people connected. I am going to stop share there, and I think that's enough as a little intro. But before handing back to you, Alexander, I just want to check in with you, Patrick. Is there anything important that I neglected to say?
No, I think you touched upon most things. One perspective I might add is that, like, my perspective has been like from the perspective of a small budding change maker in a little rural town in Sweden. So like I had in mind like this local perspective, not just this global overview, but you can actually zoom in on your little hometown and, you know, find entrances to engage in your hometown and create your little study circle and, you know, attract people or discover other people. So I guess that's the dimension and perspective I would like to add to that presentation.
Good, yeah, and something I didn't mention, but well, I guess my parents' generation, when they first saw these images of our planet from space, it sort of clicked something in people's minds. Now we're kind of used to seeing that, most of us here, so it's not so brand new. But like I found playing with this platform and playing with this globe sort of brought it home to me that we're all on the same planet in a way that just mere pictures couldn't do. And I imagine down the line, as we move more into the metaverse or the holoverse, where we got VR glasses and we are zooming in around the globe and we're connecting and we'll see each other on the planet, it'll also immerse us more in the sense that we are together. And I think that's something we need to work on the technology side, to really make sure that we show these connections and we honor the planet, and we don't get distracted by things that could pull us away from what we're actually living on and what we're actually made of. The mother, I think, as Violeta mentioned. So Alexander, or Violeta, perhaps.
Yeah, let me pass it to Violeta quick, and then I'll take a few more things.
Just one quick comment to what Tim and Patrick has said. Originally, this is initially this is designed as a center-focused product, but what we're after is to develop a truly distributed network, where each of you holds a little cloud of yourself in your pocket and really has a full authority over the data and connections that you want to have, you want to share, and you want to engage with. So just a little additional information, but this will take a little bit, but that's what we're after.
Phenomenal. And we're going to open this up now for some questions and conversation here among all those present. But I just want to make a few final comments, as we get launched, right? Because we got 24 hours here together. So as we're launching here, just to think about the power of this, right? Remember, we are just now scaffolding this. This is proof of concept, as we keep saying. But as you could see already, what's happening with this circular, which is going to be 𝐂𝐸𝐽 again, once we launch formally, is something that draws on what in sociology and organization design, when they look at how they define community, they think about this usually in terms of three different aspects of community. You have community of interest. So what we get to see here is who else is interested in the things I'm interested in? How can I form communities around my interests, around what it is that I want to be doing in the world, okay? So that's one way of forming your communities. Another one is a community of place. Well, you got the map there, and you can see, well, who's next to me? Who can I, as Tim was saying, who can I have come over and stay on my couch? And who can I go and visit and so on? So that's your community of place. Or maybe I'm traveling someplace. You get to see that. And then the third type of community, there's community of practice. Community of practice is, okay, we're all doctors, medical doctors. Okay, I want to find other medical doctors who are focused on the potential of the spleen to be the new brain of our, I don't know. But the point is, we can find specific communities of practice and join with them as well. So this kind of mapping, and mapping is just a way of visualizing it. But again, what we're actually doing is engaging with each other in a way that augments our capacity to form communities of interest, communities of place, and communities of practice. And wow, it's really rich when you have all those three overlap. But in any case, these are the kind of things we're exploring. And part of what this involves is making the invisible visible. So Tim was showing there, for example, when you get rid of the lines, you just see all the different points on the map where all the different communities are and the different people are. But when you put the lines there of who you're connected with, you make visible the network. You make visible this rhizome, this mycelium of human interbeing, right? That is very powerful. And I want us to continue to think throughout the Connect-a-thon about how we can be sorcerers of the invisible, how we can find the sources, right, of the invisible and make those visible to each other and to ourselves. That will help us be connected, not just connection through actual work, but also connected through the heart. It lets us do that. So, and finally, there's this expression that William Gibson, who was this cyber cowboy and has done a lot of stuff, he said, the future is already here. It's just unevenly distributed. This is actually something that Pavel brought forth in a other meeting we had earlier today in India. We were in India, but not literally. This idea that the future is already here, but it's unevenly distributed, is a great hope for being able to emerge the eco-civilization. Because the idea is it's already here. It exists among us. We just can't see all the parts necessarily or how it works. But we truly do have the ways of doing that right now. It's not a utopia that we have to wait for. It's a protopia that we can do now and here, right? And so this last thing I want to mention, and then we'll open this up for about 10 minutes of conversation and questions and answers, is this notion. Some of you may have seen the Netflix series called Sense8, But the point is, we're moving now from Homo sapiens sapiens. Tim was talking about this, and Homo sapiens habilis, where we are the ones making tool makers. Yeah, absolutely. But also becoming Homo sapiens sensorium. We're able to sense and connect through the heart with each other. This is very important. This aspect of empathy, truly the connections. If we are just working on task with each other, we're not going to make a big difference in the world. The eco-civilization involves our heart, involves our whole being, involves us to be able to human well together, as I like to say. How do we human well, right? And that means not machining with each other. It means humaning with each other, right? Bringing your whole being, your whole sense, your empathy, and your connectiveness with each other. So this, I think, is the basis for a different kind of eco-civilization. Well, a different kind of civilization, but the basis for an eco-civilization, the kind that we have seen in the past. We have seen this in different parts of the world in hundreds of thousands of years ago, when we lived in community, connected with each other, connected with Earth. We're going to be exploring also this kind of ancient future wisdom in this Connect-a-thon, where we get to see how can we bring this back in now around the spot, not go back to the old ways, but bring those, bring membership back in from what we know about how to human well. Well, that's kind of just setting the stage. You've heard about this. What a wonderful now 24 hours we have, moving on to 23 very soon. But before we move into our point where we're going to be doing some ritual opening, let's take a moment now just to see if there are any burning questions, mainly about if there are any things that's confusing you about what we're doing or about how we're doing. We're going to get into the content of things throughout the next 24 hours. So this is not necessarily a moment where you're going to be saying, oh, I have this idea, I'd like you to connect with me. We got time for that. Right now is just to clarify any confusions, conceptual confusions that you may have, clarifications of how does this work, anything like that. So I'm going to open the floor. If you have a question, please either use the reaction buttons at the bottom to raise your hand, or turn on your camera and wave madly on your screen so we can see you. We've been so clear. It's just awesome. Soraya.
Yeah. Now maybe a lot of questions, but I just want to give a really high up with the website that I just visited. Yeah, I was doing two things at a time, but it looks so beautiful. The earth and to make a connection with everyone. So it looks so beautiful. So that's what I wanted to share to you all. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Ramit, do you have something to share?
Yeah, I do, because Soraya started off, so I have to continue on it, because I think you've just captured, Tim, Patrick, the entire team, you've captured the whole idea of visualization as part of this website, right? Because social media is already there, but till the time that you don't actually see the connections with your own eyes, it's just not the same thing, right? And I think even just with the Connect-a-thon as well, seeing those 24 hours listed in a row, this suddenly automatically makes it feel so much more different, so much more real, and so much more connected than having heard about it. If you hear, there are 24 hours of people talking. Okay, sounds good, but what is it really? And then suddenly you see a circle where there are 24 hours and you've got all these different sessions that are going on. It just becomes so much more real, right? And then you can actually see, and then you can maneuver, and you can literally, you can't feel, but you genuinely think that you're feeling. You're rotating the globe on the website, for example, right? And you feel like you're rotating the globe and you're seeing so many different people pop up. It's just that power of visualization, which is, it's wonderful, really. And I'm hoping that it's going to be a success. I'm hoping that all of us, at least on this call, whenever we're doing anything in our own circles, we start using it and automatically then it spreads, because just this power of visualization is something that can elevate everything, every initiative that all of us undertake in whatever we're doing. So good. Thank you for this. Thank you for making this available to all of us.
Thank you so much, Ramit. Marcus, I'll get to you. Just want to mention one thing about what Ramit is saying here. You know, this is going to involve, if we're attracted by this, we want to be doing this. This is something that we see as wow, and I really think it is wow. It's going to involve some change of habits. It's going to involve us to be able to say, okay, let's start being and co-doing in different ways, right? So here's the invitation, but let's actually step up to the plate, because Ramit, when you're saying you hope that this is going to take, I do too, but the only way to make that hope actually come is by stepping up and doing this, right? Joining this, taking part of it, being proactive. We can all be leaders in this. So Marcos, let's.
Yes, thank you very much, Alexander, and thank you for this beautiful tool that you provide us with. And I just got this idea, that was my question also, whether the chat in the 𝐂𝐸𝐞𝐬𝐧𝐷.org is to each event, and it seems to be like that. So that makes it very convenient to put down notes and collective things that we want to harvest from our conversation for each event. Because as we all know, this what's in the chat right here in Zoom, it will disappear if we don't spare it. And it could be a way of collectively harvesting whatever good thoughts, ideas, and links we want to put there, so we have it already then as a documentation and a harvest in the tool. So I really like that. Thank you, Tim, for putting this up.
Thank you. And this kind of feedback about what's working, what doesn't work, that's exactly what we're doing as we're doing this proof of concept now. So that's very important, the feedback you're giving us already, Marcus. This is what we need throughout this whole time. In 7 minutes, we're going to be shifting gears and moving a little bit into another space of this Connect-a-thon, but we just have a few more minutes here as we wrap up. Daisy.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much. And we are actually soft launching with you guys. You are our test pilots and some of the first people to use the platform. So super grateful for you being part of that journey with us. And if you need any support, I'm here, and you can reach out to me probably best by email. But you could also have my WhatsApp too. I'll just put my email in the chat. And yeah, enjoy. And of course, it's a work in progress, but we've been working on it for like 4 years now. Well, me 3 years, but Tim, I know his whole life. So yeah, thank you again, and really looking forward to the journey with you all.
Excellent. Any other comments, questions we have before we're going to move now? By the way, just because we're moving out of this, we have 24 hours together. There is no like, now you can't talk about this, now you can't talk, but this is an open space. We need to human well together. And as we do this in even the next hour, there are going to be some things that we're going to be asking you to focus on, but anytime, anything that is going to help us bring forward this eco-civilization is more than welcome. This is a true experimental opportunity to human well together. That's what the Connect-a-thon is all about. So we're good. Violeta, yes.
Alexander, shall we now say that the Connect-a-thon is officially open? We gotta say it.
Okay, you know what? I think we can, let's wait a minute. Let's just do this all together here.
Yes.
Is there a chance that everyone can open their mics? Everyone here, it's going to be pretty noisy, and we're going to have some delay in some places here. But let's say Connect-a-thon, all of us together on the count of 3, 1, 2, 2.5. All right, that's the energy. We'll do this together. We'll have fun, we'll explore, we'll co-create, and we will co-do. All right, my friends, we have I'm going to suggest that we have now 4 minutes left, and these hours are going to go one right into the next. So this is probably good for our orientation beginning. If you want to take 3 minutes now to be able to go to take a bio break, anything you like, we'll be back in 3 minutes. We're not going to shut anything off here, but if you want to hide your camera for a moment, feel free, and we'll be back again in 3 minutes.